Hello everybody. I thought I would do my Facebook Live this week from my local park, which is absolutely amazing. It's a new park and it is so good. I think it's just as good for adults as kids. And I'm actually going to pan around just quickly because before I actually start my official live part, I thought I would give you a little bit of a bird's eye view, so to speak. There's all bits of it, and of course it's school holidays, so there's lots of kids and families out, and a most gorgeous breeze right at the moment, and you can see a whole lot of scaffolding and things for the kids to be playing on. And I've got to just really quickly sneak in and reverse. A quick picture of my granddaughter there and my daughter, and they're having so much fun. So I will put back on me just for now, and I'll actually walk around to somewhere that I can talk a little bit more. And what I titled, I always get to see how messy my hair is when I do these lives. I wanted to talk to you tonight about the energy of clutter, because of course this time of the year is a great time to be doing some spring cleaning, even though it's not spring, it's summer in Melbourne, but to actually go through at the end of the year and identify what things you identify as clutter and want to keep, and then those things that you don't want to keep. And in fact, many of you might have already actually done some sort of cluttering process in between maybe Christmas, New Year, or since Christmas. But what I wanted to actually specifically talk about from a spiritual perspective, and certainly my approach to clutter, is the energetic aspects of it. So obviously for a lot of people, the thought is that, I'll just move that way so that there's more light, is that clutter is just clutter. Things are things. They don't have any energy. You know, if they're alive, obviously a plant, perhaps people, animals, that might be a different story. But the general consensus, probably for most people, is that inanimate objects won't have energy. But because I'm spiritual, I actually believe that all matter, whatever the substance, does have energy and absorbs and can actually give out energy as well, just as much as we can. I'm just going to move over to a spot and I might actually take a seat. And so with that sort of philosophy of thinking, I wanted to particularly talk a little bit about how that then affects us with regards to how we organise our physical space. I'm going to refer to your home, but it can be related to office space or anything as well, and how that affects your energy, your levels of energy. So my view is that if we have a lot of clutter, or if we have any clutter, it actually drains away to an extent our energy. So obviously the bigger the amount of clutter, then the more energy that it can drain. And the thought is that when we know that things are cluttered, when things are not in their usual place, they're not in a particular semblance of order. I don't mean being perfectionistic and you know, going to the nth degree. What I am meaning though is to have some, as I said, some sense of organisation, that you are happy with what is there in that particular space and where it is in your physical space. So if you feel that there is too much, or it's not in its natural home, it's not where you think it should be, then it can drain our energy. Because say we go into a room and there's a cluttered desk, for instance, it can actually drain our energy, because even if we're not conscious of it, we're actually taking it in at a subconscious level. In other words, I could be walking to my desk at the start of the day. I know it's messy and I can't start my work, say, because there's too many things on top of the desk. The fact that I've had to move them to be able to work, or I could choose to work around them and not actually move them. Either way, hello Cheryl, thanks for joining. It can actually drain your energy. It's a little bit like Feng Shui. I am definitely no expert on it. I don't profess to be. And obviously there's lots of places that you can look up to be able to get more information about Feng Shui. But I definitely understand that concept of when there's clutter and it drains our energy, it also lacks the flow, the energy flow through a physical space. And that definitely aligns with Feng Shui principles. And so then it's a question of whether you actually, really it's a choice whether you want to clear that clutter or not. I used to very much think, you know, no clutter is good clutter and we've got to get rid of it. And I've never been an absolute neat freak, but I would, and in fact I would sometimes have a messy place, you know, room or something, and beat myself up, you know, I've got to clean this up, I've got to, you know, what would people say, and all that sort of thing. Now I'm a little bit more relaxed because I've realised actually the more that I've got into leading with a focus in my business around supporting particularly creative and spiritual people that who may be right brain, what I call right brain. So they don't necessarily think in a linear way that people who are tend to be more logical and ordered with their left brain might do. That the people who identify as that, they're actually okay with a little bit of mess. And it doesn't seem to drain their energy, but I still think there would be some limit where if it gets past, then it definitely will. So what I'm getting at is I'm not suggesting perfection. Obviously, it's great if you look at some sort of semi-regular routine of cleaning things or of sorting things out, but an organisation. But I don't suggest that it has to be, you know, labelling every minute thing and that sort of thing. If that's not what you want to do, if that doesn't feel natural to you, you know, I'm really big on how our feelings are able to guide us, and I think that, you know, do what it is that your feelings are suggesting. Now, I'm not a professional organiser. I don't go to people's homes and help with clutter. I look at clutter from the point of, you know, as I've been saying, from the energetic level. And I also have worked with clients around helping them with their clutter from an emotional point of view, because I wouldn't say it's a case for everybody, but there's certainly a number of people that clutter for them is a representation around emotions that are either not being felt, not being expressed, not being dealt with, and we can hang on to things because of the emotion tied with them as a result of that. So, of course, an extreme example would be something like hoarding, and I also don't work with those clients. I'd refer somebody on if that was the case. But I do work with people, and I particularly, in that case, use EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. As I said, if they have clutter and they find that it's getting them down, they would rather that they didn't have it, they don't know where to start, that type of thing, I can definitely help. And what I have found is that, you know, as I said, it's the emotional aspect. So what I find when I use EFT with somebody for that reason is that we can actually start to unpack what is it that might have happened in the past that has led the person to want to actually hang on to the thing or the things that are causing the clutter. Now, of course, I don't mean to suggest we shouldn't be holding things, you know, on for a keepsake reason, you know, or it's a family heirloom or whatever. It's, as I said, it's not that I want to suggest that those things not be kept, but sometimes we can hang on to things because of that emotional tie, what it represents in terms of memories, and as I said, potentially unfelt emotions. So an example of that could be grief. It could be, in terms of emotions, it could be anger. It could be fear. You know, if I get rid of this, does this mean that I won't remember this person or something like that? And it's actually a really It's a fascinating process. It can be challenging, definitely, but a rewarding process as well for both the client and for me. So I just want to start to introduce to you the concept that clutter isn't often about the thing or things. It's actually, a lot of it is what's underneath that, and I really enjoy unpacking that with clients. So I won't go through. I'll actually save it for another Facebook Live to talk about some suggestions around dealing with clutter. Happy to do that. Please, if you've got any suggestions for topics for me to do as a Facebook Live each week, I would love you to be able to comment, post those. I'll do my best to be able to respond and do a live on that. Any topics that interest you that relate to that whole area of productivity, of spirituality, creativity, success principles, those sorts of things, or maybe some of the techniques that I use, like EFT, hypnosis, NLP, timeline therapy, and of course coaching. I'd be more than happy to. So I'll leave you with that. I hope it stirs some thinking for you around what your clutter might mean to you, and perhaps appease your feelings if you are particularly right brain, creative, spiritual, and you thought that you should clear up the clutter, but you're realizing that maybe I don't need to. And one little thing I will add there is to actually, what I actually suggest is, if you're not sure if it's draining your energy, is to sit and hold, if you can physically hold it, or be in the room with the things that you're wanting to be, that you're not sure about. You want to identify whether it's clutter and you should be removing it. And if it's not obvious, and actually meditate and really be open to feeling the energy of it. And if you feel that it drains your energy, then I would then suggest that you put it somewhere, or you actually get rid of it, depending on, of course, what it is. But if you actually find that it's not taking away, draining your energy, then it may be okay to keep it, or it might be that you need to put it somewhere else. There might be a better place for it, or it might be that there's a number of things and you only need to keep one thing. What I find is, some people will have, so many photos. The days when we had photos before it all, everything was digital, and you could actually, have zillions and zillions of family photos, and maybe they're people that have passed on, or times that you really cherish in the past. So maybe you can actually keep some of the photos. You don't need to keep all of them. That's something that I've actually been doing, because I've got so many, or I have less now, but it's a process that I've gone through, and in fact it's a good reminder for me now to actually do that process again, because I think I could cull them a little bit more. So that is something that you can do, a process that you can do if you actually want to get the feeling for whether something's actually clutter and you need to do something with it, or whether it's okay to be with you and in that spot. So, here's my little granddaughter come back again. I've got to quickly turn her around and say, hello, darling. I will. Oh, she's gone. I will leave it there. She's in a hurry to get somewhere else to play, which is wonderful. Thanks, Cheryl, for watching, and of course, you're all welcome to watch the replay. If you've got any comments, any questions on clutter, please post them, and I will, as I said, talk about in another live ways of managing it and other aspects of clutter as well. So for now, I will say bye-bye, and wishing you a great evening. See you later. Bye-bye.